What up, YouTube family? So, as you know, um, it is Talk That Talk Tuesday, and it's time to unpack the latest tea from the Diddy trial with creator analyst Armon Wiggins. No surprise witness lineup yet, but the clips keep coming. Jane Doe in the hot seat, jurors reacting to explicit freak off videos, and courtroom chaos. So let's break down this week drama and connect it to black culture somehow. Um, let's go. So what up, y'all? They say Diddy ain't got no witnesses, y'all. But we got the inside scoop from content creator Armon Wiggins. So here's the latest from what I know before we play Armon. Diddy still has no witnesses, and the defense is not calling a single has not called a single one yet. The prosecution is rolling with Jane Doe, his ex, delivering her heavy testimony about those hotel nights. Armand breaks it down, saying she didn't come off like a victim, and they really felt her version. I think it was when the trial first started, so a few weeks ago. We already been, reviewing it, him highlighting jurors getting hit, more freak off video evidence. You know, they got the courtroom reaction caught on camera. So Armand Wiggins is in front row, bringing analysis vibe, and he's saying the defense looks quiet, almost too quiet. There's no rebuttals, no alternative narratives. Yet he's questioning, where's Puff's side? Have they got a plan B? Armand went on TMZ and highlighted viral courtroom moments, Diddy smirking, juror grabs, and he's also laying out how optics matter, not just evidence. So, how does this connect to our culture? Why is this important, and why does this matter to black culture? Okay, black culture ties. Diddy, a whole icon, y'all, from music, business, and street culture. His trial ain't just legal drama, it's generational. We support ours, but we also want justice. We watch with heavy hearts because it's about power, accountability, and image. So, what Armand is doing is giving us a front row insight without the legalese, and that's culturally important. We see history unfolding live. So, no witnesses, is that really going to be Diddy's defense strategy analysis? Because the defense has a sticky spot. No witnesses. That could backfire. No rebuttal means prosecution controls the narrative. But maybe defense next move is this: wait them out, hope jurors doubt credibility, or file a big shit motion. Amon said they might go Rule 29, which moves for acquittal without a jury verdict. So let's go ahead and roll out Amon's update. This is the last update, which is last night. And just before I press play, here's what we can expect. Here's what's next. More Jane Doe testimony may follow up, even harsher defenses cross. So they may call 50 Cent baby mama back up on the stand, okay? Armand's got to be looking for that shift. What's the defense narrative? So I hope he really pays close close attention to the defense's narrative. And third, jury reactions will define this part. Their expressions tell the story. So if defense does file Rule 29 for acquittal, Armand says that could mean no verdict handed to the jury, which flips the script, y'all. So think about it. This trial isn't just headline, it's about shining light on sexual exploitation, power dynamics, and how our icons are held accountable. Armon Wiggins is tapping into the culture, calling out hypocrisy, and helping us ask, do we forgive? Do we hold? Or do we demand proofs? Y'all saying, what do you think? No witnesses? Is that an L or nah? Let's roll it, y'all, because I'm confused.
Have life insurance, we're going to show
Here
you
we
how
go.
easy
we get her attention because I feel like I miss being on the radio. All right, so this weekend was really great. I went to it's like this will literally go down into the YouTube archives of history, and we're having this moment together. So just take a moment and really reflect on how iconic this last 7 weeks were. We've had some really good memories together, from the oil to the Diddy dukes to the staying in the light to the bacon, turkey bacon, to all Capricorn Clark wanting was life, to Chun Li and Cassie, Diddy appearing out of nowhere, flicking a hanger at Carrie Morgan after choking her from behind, hanging Bana over the balcony by her yiddies. Okay? And telling Bana, I hope you can walk on water, bitch, because you got to get the fuck up out of here. I mean, we've really had some classic moments. You know what I'm saying? And so, you know, I want to say shout out to you guys and thank you. And here's the thing. This week, I know we come for the giggles and the kicks. We got to get serious because there's no more testimony anymore. There's no more fireworks, guys. Honestly, today was one of the most boring days of the cases. Now, you will hear a lot of people, and I'm not talking about anybody specific because I'm talking about the news, whatever. People be lying. I'm just saying that. People be lying. You know, I do my entertainment spin, but people be lying. You know, somebody texted me today and was like, and I was in the overflow. So somebody texted me today and was like, was Diddy shaking his head up and down to the freak off music? Like he was bobbing to the music? I don't know who said that. I don't know where that came from, but apparently that's being said. And I was asking around for people. They was like, that never happened. They were also saying that people were saying that Diddy was talking to them. I've never seen any of that stuff. And I think that he would get in trouble for doing that. So I don't know, but people just be saying stuff, y'all. And so I do think that as the week goes on, and it's because it's going to become more and more uninteresting and less interesting, people are going to be just throwing shit out there. You know what I mean? Diddy farted and looked and threw it at me. You know what I mean? Diddy told me if he gets off, he's going to kill me. You know, people be saying shit. They ran off a stage in a heart attack. Meanwhile, the jurors ain't doing nothing. So, oh, they said that was Tisa who said that. Well, I don't know. Well, I didn't see it. I mean, I didn't hear that she said it. But shout out to her. She's doing her thing, covering the case. We like her. So no tea. Shout out to her. She's doing her thing. She's killing it. She's everywhere. So shout out to Tisa Tales on that. But I didn't see now, girl. I didn't see. Yeah. So I don't know if that's what the tea was, but if she told y'all that, then she told y'all that, y'all. I'm gonna stand my line. So anyway, but shout out to Tisa Tales. She's doing her thing. Love you, boo. All right, so let's get into it. So okay. So they did the summary today. Not too much going on. They went through a bunch of text messages that we already know. You know, from Jane Doe saying she didn't want to be a bag. She's not into porn, not a P star. It's been 3 years, you know, she's been strangers. We went through all of this stuff already. What they were doing today is pretty much doing the last final summary, going over the freak off videos, going over text messages that we've covered already in here. You know, more talk, more horny, all that. So I'm over that. We know everybody was horny. We know everybody better be hard. We know that there was ketamine and cocaine. Okay? But now reports are saying the defense is saying, hey, we're not even bringing any witnesses to the stand. And they are expected to start their case tomorrow. The prosecution has pretty much rested. They might have to do a redirect because the defense right now is on a cross-examination of the last witness, which is the summary witness. So it's a snooze fest. Everyone's bored. Snow fireworks. People are going to sleep. People are coming less and less. You know what I'm saying? People are not really in it as much because it's all a bunch of stuff that we already know. So now the defense is doing their cross-examination. Boring. All right. The prosecution took 2 days to do theirs. Then they will start their case. But they're planning on shooting for the Rule 29 filing, which is an acquittal. Now they do that. Now this is standard. Now the Rule 29 is basically, saying that, hey, judge, before the jury deliberates, we want to quit this case because we don't feel like the prosecution has detailed and laid out their story. They don't have enough substantial evidence to charge this man with these criminal crimes. Everyone does this. So 9 times out of 10, this probably and most likely will be thrown out. But why not exercise your right to the filing? You know what I'm saying? I mean, and hey, the judge could actually go with it. But something tells me this judge is not going to be the one to want to say, hey, I made the decision to free Diddy.
So you guys, I just want to add that also this week, Diddy team dropped a bomb. They rested without calling anyone, right? 30 minutes in court. They read a few texts and stipulations, then bam, done. So that was a major flex of confidence, which I don't know. The prosecutor already caught 34 witnesses, y'all, exes, staff, agents. Now it's all on jury deliberations. It just don't make sense. The former federal prosecutor, Chuck Kyle, says skipping witnesses makes sense. Less risk for Diddy, I guess. Less cross-examination. So they're betting the prosecution didn't meet the burden of proof. Okay, so they're going to play it that way. They're going to say, Diddy's going to say, well, he's betting on his freedom. They're banking on reasonable doubt, y'all, not rebuttals. Now that's deep.
No matter what their attempts are for a mistrial, acquittal, none of these things. I don't think that this judge is going for that. He'd rather let the people of the jury decide, because in 2, I also think the judge is feeling like, well, I've wasted these people's time. I feel like the judge really cares about his jury. So having these people come every day, sit there and do that, and then for him to just take the power, the judge is pretty fair. I don't think that he's going to do that. So I think that he will leave it in the hands of the jury. All right. So plan of action is by tomorrow, we should start the defense. By Wednesday, they plan on charging the jury. This is when it gets really important. So it's probably not going to be a lot to talk about because they're planning on giving the jury a long extended.
Just coming in, make sure you smash that subscribe, that like, comment. Help me reach 1,000, you guys. Thank you.
Break, and then they go fight over wording. So I didn't know what charging of the jury meant, but I looked it up. And so apparently charging of the jury pretty much goes into the filing. So when the jurors have to go and select guilty or not guilty, it's the wording based upon charges that the jurors have to adhere by when looking for the conviction, when deciding guilty or not guilty. So in essence, the defense and the prosecution argue over certain verbiage that goes into the description of each individual charge that will then be labeled by a box that says guilty or not guilty. And the juror will select which one per charge. But what's important is the way that that charge is depicted and how it is described. And so they will have to argue back and forth at what language is used in that description that will then be presented to the jury so that the jury will then choose guilty or not guilty. And once that language or description is created, okay, here's RICO, here's the description. Here's sex trafficking, here's the description. Here's the prostitution, here's the description. Once they figure that out, the jury is going to get very detailed and strict instructions to go by and adhere to the description that is listed above or below that charge. And so they have to follow those guidelines and decide whether or not they feel that Diddy either was guilty of this crime or not, based.
So if you guys don't understand, what Armon Wiggins is saying is that jurors were reacting to the video evidence, and their bodies in their room were starting to shift the energy. And Puffy was quietly nodding while the Texas came in. So he got the vibe that, like, oh, he had a chance, right? So he got that vibe you can't get just from headlines. So that was a bold move, but it's also a gamble, right? So the defense skipping witnesses. So now the jury is their battleground. And so if they closing arguments hit tomorrow, the jury could begin deliberating by Friday. And if one juror stays unconvinced, y'all, it's a hang, mistrial. Yep. If the jury sway, Puffy walks. It's that tense, y'all.
Based upon the detailed description of what the charge is. And so now we're at a pivotal point because the prosecution is going to want to detail it or have it very, the description kind of like casting a wide net. So they would say things like, I don't know, was there an intent or was he knowingly, trying to get people for sex trafficking? Like, could you tell that there was an intent or luring someone into, sex trafficking, where the defense would say, did he, coerce or force Jane Doe or these people into having sex? Those little words matter because those mean two things. So for the defense, the more narrow and the more direct that you make the wording, the harder it is to fit into those guidelines. So you'll be like, well, I don't really feel like I seen coercion and I don't feel like he forced her.
Hi, I'm Burke, a small business insurance.
He's taking a huge risk, you guys.
In there, they would want something like, did he knowingly and intentionally trick or, persuade or have these women thinking one thing and it be another in order to get freak offs and things like that? And then the defense will be like, no, that's too broad. Because then on one hand, you could think, ooh, well, he kind of did. His intention was to do freak offs. Maybe theirs wasn't. So it's going to be a word game. A word game. So I looked it up. So let me get a better example. Cause hold on, let me do this for y'all. Hold on. Let me get the examples for you guys. Probably won't be a long live, I know, because it's not really much to get into. Oh, my thing just keeps cutting out. All right, so it's not working right now. I don't know what this is about. But yeah, guys, so that's where we are now. So that's going to happen Wednesday. And then I'm assuming the jury will get instructions Thursday. No, and there'll be closing arguments Thursday. Closing arguments will be Thursday. It's going to be 4 hours apiece, and deliberations start on Friday. So I don't know if they're going to come back with a verdict Friday or they'll come back with a verdict Monday. But, and they're planning for Thursday and Friday to have long days in case it takes the jury longer. So we might be there all day Thursday and Friday. I'm hoping the jury can really come with it and make a decision by Friday, because then that frees me up for my weekend. So I don't know. It's going to be very, very interesting. If I'm being honest with you, I don't know how this is going to go. This can go either way, because here's the thing. Do I feel like they do have the RICO? Do I feel like they have the trafficking? Do I feel like they have the prostitution? I feel like the prostitution is clear. I feel like the trafficking is clear. I feel like the RICO makes sense. I think the problem is, and listen, I'm not just the most legal person, and I'm no lawyer, but I just feel like the RICO, people are not understanding the RICO because it's not bam, bam, shot you dead, drug lord kind of thing enterprise. It's more of a freaky, baby oiled, astro glided, choke slamming, drop kicked under red lights and cocaine type of vibe. You know what I'm saying? So I think that people are not really seeing the RICO because it's so lathered up in baby oil. It's a lot of baby oil talk and a lot of horny. But people are missing all the players of the flights and the escorts and the man and the woman that work the site and the assistants setting up the room and the assistants going to buy more oil. And, this one putting the room under this one's name, under Frank Black, and then, going to go get the drugs in a different prescripted name. Prescribed name, all of these are crimes. But then on one hand, you're thinking to yourself, well, for me, I would have thought, well, damn, I get it to a certain degree, but I didn't really know that this was considered a crime, let alone a RICO, because to me, on one hand, it feels like this is just a guy with money and power, and, he has employees working for him, and this is what he likes to do. And so perhaps he's just got his assistants, they do other things, amongst other things, like handling like other business affairs. These assistants also handle the freak offs. I didn't know that this was a criminal enterprise.
If you're just joining me, make sure you smash that subscribe button. Make sure you like and comment. Thanks for
Because
joining.
it doesn't feel like this is all he does. When you think RICO, you're thinking this is this person's sole purpose in their job, and they're getting this money, or they're just doing all these crimes. But I guess these are sex crimes. But if I'm being honest with you, I feel like 95% people with money can be hit with a RICO. If that's the case, all these niggas doing this. Diddy is just the one that got caught. And furthermore, a lot of these women want to be flued out. So I didn't know that this was as big of a crime or as heavy as a crime than it actually really is. So,
And to be fair, you guys, I'm sure a lot of us didn't think that these things were crimes. Like, let's be real. And I'm not taking up for Diddy or anything, but common sense is that I know a lot of females that think flued out.
so I feel like everybody is a little bit guilty of this. If you got the money, who wouldn't fly a big booty child and lather them in baby oil and get high on the weekend? I guess I wouldn't, not if I wanted to stay out of court. So, I don't know. It's very, very interesting. So there's that part. And then I also think, let's just be honest. Can we talk? This trial, it was okay, but I think a lot of people are losing interest. And I think a lot of people are losing interest because you know what we wanted to see. This is not what we wanted to see. We wanted to see Jaguar Wright in an upside down headstand with Jay-Z finger popping her, with Sherry Shepherd and Lauryn Hill and Meek Mill on his back. Diddy with a gag ball in his mouth. And Jay-Z whipping Jaguar Wright while Mary J. Blige was having her titties in her face. Justin Bieber somewhere 12 years old licking on a lollipop and a memoir from Kim Porter saying he killed me. And somehow we tangled that into Tupac and Biggie. That's what we wanted. And we wanted it all on tape. Let's be real here. We didn't get that. That's what we wanted to see. And so since that didn't happen, nobody gives a damn anymore. Now it's just about they all crazy and they all whores.
Well, because they're suppressing a lot of things, and I think they've forgotten about the kids. I think it's a lot of things that they are still gonna hide, that we're not gonna be able to have privilege.
They was all going, and Diddy's a freak. Let's be real here. Can we talk?
Yeah, go ahead, Armon.
Because that's exactly what we wanted. We wanted Jay-Z in the crops incriminating himself next to Usher. We wanted to see a herpes test. That's what we wanted. That's exactly that's what you wanted. And we wanted somehow for Beyonce to and sit in the court. That didn't happen. That wasn't this case. And so you guys are over it. And you don't give a damn about Cassie or Jane Doe. Nobody cares. We wanted Meek Mill to be gang banged on an island. That's what y'all wanted to see. That's what y'all wanted. And somewhere Jaguar Wright was saying, I told you so. Ooh, oh, oh, ooh, oh, oh. You want a Jaguar Wright in the back. Ooh, oh, oh, oh. That's what you wanted. Let's be honest. But it's okay. We didn't get that this time. And so everybody is like, and the people who really want him guilty, found guilty, you know, those are the people that want him charged for everything. You know, somehow we needed J-Lo to come speak out. You know what I'm saying? But that didn't happen. So here we are with Diddy's private sexcapades, and we're to do with them and say, all right, this was a criminal enterprise. I personally feel like Jane Doe was probably the worst witness. She could have single-handedly ruined this case because it seemed like she started feeling some type of way after she read Cassie's lawsuit, and Jane Doe was with it until she found out that everybody else was getting the perks. But there was something interesting that did pop out that I didn't hear before. Well, apparently Diddy told KK, because he was setting up a freak off night with Jane Doe and I think was Paul. So Diddy told KK to text Young Miami. Well, they call her Young. Text Young and tell her that I had a family emergency. I'm sick and I have to fly out of town because I was supposed to take her to dinner tonight, but I got to take her to dinner tomorrow. It's going to be a long night. So just go ahead and tell her that I'm not going to make her. Tell her something came up. But really, that's because he was going to make sure the dick stayed hard with Paul and he was going to do a freak off with Jane Doe. So then KK texted back and said, I don't think you should just lie. Just say something came up. And so they went with that plan. So he wasn't doing the freak offs with Young Miami. But what I'm hearing from Jane Doe, she would be upset. And I don't even know if Gina was doing the freak offs. What happened was Jane Doe would do the freak offs. Diddy would record the freak offs. Then then Diddy, Young Miami, or Diddy and Gina would go off the grid, and then they would do whatever they're doing. I don't know if Young Miami was getting high, but I'm damn sure Diddy was getting high. So they would get high, go off the grid, and watch the freaky videos. But then Diddy would up the freaky video from Gina, and then they would have like a sexy sex video sex to Jane Doe and Paul. So Diddy would use Jane Doe as his in-person corn star, film it, then take it off the grid, get high as shit, and then jack and play little free games with Young Miami and Gina as they watch the video that Jane Doe made the night before.
Oh, wow.
And so that's why she would be upset, because Jane Doe said, stop having me suck for you to go and watch him with Young Miami and Gina. But that has to be some crazy shit too, because it's like, all right, so you went and had her and me and you gonna watch it? I don't know. That's a lot. That's a lot.
Freaky.
And so that's what would be going on. She said, you want me to suck some so you can jack off once with Young on an island, Gina or Young Miami. You want me to suck some so you can jack on an island with Young Miami or Gina. Oh, you know what I gotta do though? I need to do this. Did my phone die? I need to find this man. Hold on. My phone is dead. Why would I do that? They did pull up this new escort. We hadn't seen. His name is Mason. From Vegas. It's about $1,400 for a minimum of 2 hours. I want to see if I can find him so y'all can see what he looked like. Hold on.
I think I saw him. He did a couple of talk shows.
Is he gonna pull up? Oh my God, I gotta see if I can find this guy.
If it's him, it's a dark-skinned guy, and I wouldn't think that Diddy would be attracted to him.
Come on.
But Diddy didn't have a type.
Where is the Mason guy? Oh, we're gonna have to wait for the exhibits to come out. Room. There was yelling and screaming. Right? And this goes into the RICO too, in my opinion. So there's yelling and screaming, and guess what the assistant said? Don't worry about it. That's just Jane Doe yelling and screaming out of jealousy because, you know, Diddy's still dealing with other women. And so they just let it happen. They didn't care. So today we learned that all the assistants, everybody was in on the deal. They would set the room up. They would buy baby oil. They would go and get the cash back. They would go get the $5,000 to $10,000 cash. Okay. Who is this? Is this Flash? Somebody said, Johnny after your boy. Who is Johnny? Who is Johnny? Now this, but now I know this is Flash. Now Flash, you better come in here because you know they're going to swear I want you. You see that? Now, what if Flash? If you want here, you can come in and tell. What can you tell us about Mason? Because Mason might got you beat. Mason is fine. It's no shade. We got to pull Mason. We got to find Mason. Mason, call me. We need to have
Mason is another freak off guy, y'all.
Have you up here, Mason? Because you snuck through the front door today.
I should say, I'm gonna show y'all.
Didn't they expose Jane Doe? Oh, through an interesting turn of events, they exposed her through her emojis. I'll give you more if you can make me squirt with the squirting emojis. I'm so excited with the hard eyes and the kissy face. And then one of the escorts wrote, I know that putty's still throbbing over me. And she, ooh, with the drooling emojis. And so Jane Doe was a whole. Amen? And so she was definitely in on it. So, I don't know. Oh, Johnny Gill. Oh, so there are reports that Johnny Gill was upset. Now, listen, Johnny, we didn't say that. But apparently, Johnny Gill is seeking legal against our interviewee, Flash. So, you know what? I'm going to actually drop the link because there really wasn't much to get into. So we'll have a couple of minutes for you guys to give your thoughts on it. And Flash, if you want to come up here, you can definitely come up here. Here is the link. Anybody that wants to grab the link and jump in and get into some things, you can come up here. But Flash, if you do come up here, you're not going to be cursing.
Yeah, I'm assuming Flash is a sex worker. I must have missed that. I think he interviewed him yesterday.
Okay, but yeah, so I'm definitely down to get you guys' thoughts. Do you guys think this is a RICO? Do you think that Diddy is going to walk? Do you think that he will be acquitted? What happens at the end of this week? Like I said, there's no more fireworks, guys. Now we get serious because somebody's life is about to change, and it's either going to change for the good or the bad. But here's the thing: if he gets off, I still think that people are going to rock with Diddy. Is his career going to be tainted a little bit? Yes. Will he stop doing freak offs? No. Will he get smarter about it? Yeah, but he probably won't be able to get charged for the same thing again. Will he be even more of a raging narcissist? Absolutely. We all have to run for the hills. Absolutely. But here's the thing. I cannot see in a world where he gets off 100% scot-free. So, I don't know. We'll see. Okay, so we'll take a couple people in here. We'll see. All right, what's going on, Tammy? Talk to me.
Hey, Armon, how are you?
So you guys, I'm going to end the video here. You can I'll put Armon's link if you want to look at the total video. But look, y'all, Diddy is banking on reasonable doubt, not a rebuttal. All that means is Diddy legal team believes the prosecution did not prove its case beyond a shadow of a doubt. That's big balls. That's big kahunas. But who is surprised? Are y'all surprised that Diddy's taking this route? So they're saying we don't have to defend because y'all didn't deliver. It's risky but bold. No testimony means less room for cross-examination or slip-ups. You know, they're letting the gaps in the prosecution case speak louder than the defense witness ever could. I wouldn't play with my life like that. And now it's all eyes on the jury. The judge is preparing to charge the jury. That's when they give specific legal instructions on how to interpret the evidence, define reasonable doubt, and guide deliberation. Y'all, that's huge. This is huge. If you go back and watch that show, Reasonable Doubt, on Hulu, which is produced by Jay-Z, like, I kind of feel like it's an out-of-body experience. One word can shift how a juror votes, y'all. If the jury doesn't fully believe the case was airtight, that's Diddy way out. All it takes is one jury to say, no. And that's it. I feel like it's a game. It's been a game all along. My thought is, I think Diddy is going to be let go. I know, y'all, but I think it's gonna be a juror that it's gonna be one of those jurors either he paid off or got to or already been playing, y'all. I don't know. Tell me what y'all think because it sounds like a whole script to me at this point. Yeah. So, you guys, is silence a strategy or surrender? Would you testify if you were Diddy? Do you think the jury has enough to convict? Drop your answers in the comments. I'm going to read them all. Subscribe for real Black culture updates, courtroom coverage, and raw analysis. Hit that bell, y'all. Get me to 1,000. Um, Thanks for joining my live. Peace.